What's up, Ashley? How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm okay. I'm tired. I had a long week. But anyways, I prepared a couple questions to ask you, as you know already. But I kind of just want to start by you kind of giving an introduction on like what your whole YouTube journey was, or like what your YouTube channel is, and how you kind of got started in it.
Well, I started YouTube my sophomore year of high school, I think the summer actually. And so what started off was my cousin slash brother, that's also another thing, would occasionally ask me, hey, Ashley, do you want to do like this video where it's like, oh, you make your own Roblox account, I'll give you 30 bucks. 30 bucks to me at the time was a lot. So I was like, of course, 100%. And then I guess I was like popular at the time to his audience since most of his like demographic consists of like female girls. And so he's like, oh, Ashley, do you want to come back to do another video for $30 again and again and again? And then by the end of it, he was like, Ashley, like, do you want to do this full time? And then I remember like contemplating for like 3 months, talking to my friends, being like, oh, like, I don't want to become a Roblox YouTuber. Boys won't talk to me, which is really embarrassing at the time. Now that I think about it, things like that, like, it's really cringy because like, it's a grown girl pretending to have a boyfriend playing a game that like I didn't really like at the time. And so yeah, from there the channel grew. I took a couple breaks and then I did it again and then I just quit because I didn't get enough views the last time.
Okay. I have a lot of questions just out of what you just said. So wait, how long ago did you start? Did you say?
Um Sophomore year of high school. So I guess
Okay, sophomore
technically
year.
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years ago. Wow. Um, was this something like, had you been playing Roblox before he asked you to come on and like kind of play for like the YouTube channel, or was this just like your first time playing when he asked you?
Oh, no, I've never played Roblox before.
Oh,
I was
wow.
a full Minecraft girl to the core. And so when he asked me to make this, I was like, what the
Uh-huh.
heck is this? This is so weird. And everything I was just doing was comparing it to Minecraft.
So did you not like, was there not like a learning curve where like, so even after your first video, like it kind of caught attention more than like his other videos did?
I wouldn't necessarily say it caught more attention than like the rest of his videos, but like
Uh-huh.
there kind of is like a benchmark we have for
Yeah.
like how we deem a video to be popular. And mine was
Hmm.
considered one of the popular ones. And so he kept on bringing it
Interesting.
back.
Okay. And then what do you talk about like having a boyfriend? Like what is that? Like is that in the game or what do you I'm so confused
You know,
how it
that was really confusing to my high school friends too. So basically with Roblox, it's kind of like
uh
Minecraft. You can do whatever you want.
yeah.
You can like play the survival games or kids these days like role play games. And so the platform that I used was called Bloxburg. If I had to compare it, it's kind of like Sims, except you have more autonomy as a character and you really just like are yourself only. And
Hmm.
so kids would like say in the chat, like, oh, type ABC to pretend to be my adopted sister, or ABC to be like my evil stepmother, and things like that. And so, one thing that's actually banned in Roblox is like virtual dating. And so, basically, there's a storyline of I found this random boy named Leo. And so, Leo was my basically my fake boyfriend on Bloxburg. And so you'd have like really intricate, like super dramatic storylines just like revolving around this character and me.
So was the other character like another person who's playing the game, or was it like I don't know how Roblox works. Is that how that works? Like
Yes, that's actually it. So we
okay.
hire at the beginning, it was just me and my cousin. And so he would
Uh,
body act on another character
yeah.
and like tell me over Discord saying, hey, Ashley,
Uh,
how to do this, yada, yada,
yeah.
yada. But like over the years, one thing I really like am proud of him for is kind of how he commercialized YouTube and really like turned into like one big business. And so he has like an
Hmm.
office. And so we hire like people to play as like body actors and they just kind of like do some improv and just like respond to like what I
Oh
type
wow.
out into the chat.
Interesting. And I'll probably get into that a little more later too. But okay, thank you for the introduction. So when did you start to realize in that process? So it just started with like $30 a day and then he kept inviting you back. And then you said you went full time. When you say that, like, first of all, what year are you in? Are you like in college now, like senior year of high school?
No, I actually went. So I think not necessarily full-time, like professionally, just like actually wanting to do it, like starting my own channel was what I considered
Okay,
full-time
got
at the
it.
time since I
All
was still
right.
a high school student. So I'd
Uh-huh.
say if I started at the beginning of the summer, I think by the end of the summer, that's when I was like, okay, let's go full send. Let's actually start a channel and do this.
So this was the end of your summer after sophomore year?
Yeah. So I guess
Okay,
going into my junior year.
interesting. Wow. So originally this was on someone else's, like your brother's YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
then why was it important to you to just start your own? Like what would have been the difference there?
Well, it's like I guess like splitting up the revenue and then also his channel, people come to see him specifically. And
Okay, that
so
makes
for
sense.
me, starting my own channel would just be like me and my own content. And
Mhm.
also like what we produce is a little bit different. Like mine is, I guess, more like romantic based to some extent, while his is more like actiony and things like that.
Mhm. Interesting. Okay. So you start your own YouTube channel. We're at the end of your summer after sophomore year. Like, what is that like? Like, are you now beginning to like edit your own videos, or like what was the transition over to your own YouTube channel like?
So at first, it was a lot of babysitting. Like a video normal at most, I didn't actually have to edit
Uh-huh.
or make any thumbnails at all, or make any storylines, which I guess is kind of like the scam of my entire story. And it's like really shocking to tell people because they expect me to be like really good at these things.
Uh-huh.
And so the only thing that really started to go, like, I guess, towards like me leading my own things was I would be given the script and rather than being guided like word through word, lyric, I'm not lyric, sentence through sentence, scene by scene. Eventually, it was just given to me. I was expected to like memorize it, be able to come up with my own commentary and things like that. And then
Mm,
by the very, very end of it, basically they would just give me the outline, put me into a room with like a bunch of like body actors that I didn't really know and like basically guide them and tell them
mhm.
what to do. And so by the end of it, I guess I was kind of my own director.
So you're saying they, who's making those icons and editing and stuff like that then?
So, a lot of YouTubers actually like hire editors and things like that. So when I say
Mhm.
they, it's like I guess the imaginary cloud of the team of
Editors.
editors
And
and
you
like
hired these people like up front?
I didn't hire them at first because I was really young at the time. I didn't really know anything.
Uh-huh.
I guess my brother's goal was to
Okay,
kind of get me used to things like that. And
got
so
it.
basically he would just handle everything. And at the like the way I described it to people was like I was a class C actor. Basically, he just brought me in, told me to talk, and that's what I did.
Okay, so your brother is kind of running the operation side of this.
Yes.
Got it. That's interesting. So then I guess we could talk a little bit about like your larger role. So like, do you think there was any like, what do you think was kind of like the most difficult part over growing like your YouTube channel? Like, what do you think was the hardest part?
I think the hardest part was kind of getting over my own personal, I guess, like social stigma of what YouTube is and what
Mm,
exactly I was
yeah,
doing on the platform. Because, like I said, it's a 16-year-old making like things for 7-year-olds, like pretending
yeah.
that something that I know, quite frankly, is not real is real.
Uh-huh.
And so that was like the biggest part. And I guess like finding pride in it and being able to be like, oh, like this is a job, like this isn't like
Yeah.
an actual like version of me or something like that.
Hmm. So that's like a good point. I think a lot of people kind of struggle with. It's like I think a lot of people do have like a creative side to them, but then like they're kind of worried about their impression on like being on YouTube and stuff like that. Could you like how'd you deal with that? Or like did you was it just like a shift like or like a switch and you were like, okay, I don't care anymore.
I think at first I just had to like stick with it because I was getting paid.
Uh-huh.
But by the end of it, I think it's because I actually saw it as a job and then how much work you actually put in order to
Hmm.
like make the right storyline, to come up with the right thumbnail and like
Yeah.
to get a good enough title. And so once I personally started to suffer making these videos, like I would have
Hmm.
breakdowns. It was a terrible time. I
Oh,
actually kind of saw the beauty slash like art of it all. And so
interesting.
basically just seeing the hard work.
So was there like if you were still like in the middle of your high school, were people like starting to like what was like your first moment like of someone at school, or did you have any moments like that where like someone knew that you had a YouTube channel and like I don't know, like was there any like situation like that you had to deal with?
So majority of my close friends knew about it, and then
Okay.
I didn't really like to talk about it. I really kept it
Hmm.
on like the down low. And also the way that my school was like built, I guess I was basically kind of surrounded by the same class over and over again. And so
Uh,
like these people would know, but no one else would know. And usually like I told them to keep like hush hush about it. But I guess like someone recognizing me was during one of my drill team like junior camps. Like my friend brought up her little sister and was like, "Hey, she watches your videos." And I was like, "Wow." And so yeah.
what like was like first of all, what's drill? Is that like you said your drill team?
Aren't you from Texas?
What is that like cheerleading?
I say it's like the dance version of cheerleading.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yes.
All right. So that's actually like, was that like really exciting to you? Did you like sign an autograph or something when that happened?
No, but I did say, "Do you want some Robux? I'll give it to you." That's what I usually do
Wait,
because,
what?
like,
What does that
yeah.
mean? Give you
So
Roblox?
Robux is the monetary is like the currency
Oh,
of
okay.
Roblox, and you
Okay.
can just give it out to people. But like for me, even when I hit like those big milestones of like 100
Uh-huh.
subscribers, 1,000, 10,000, like
Yeah.
100K, it's not really tangible to me at all. Like
No,
even
it's
when I hit
not.
like 500K, like it's
Yeah.
honestly just a number. You don't get to see most of these people, and also I really never get to see any of these people
Hmm.
because they're obviously way younger than me, and
Yeah.
so like actually seeing a person is like what makes it like real.
Yeah. Agreed. Is that like your only fan experience? Or have other people like been like, dang, like my sister or something watches your video?
And no, it's usually a lot of like that. Like I don't see
So it's
them, but they
okay,
do
that
come
makes
up to
sense.
tell me and be like, "Oh, like my like little sibling watches your videos or watches your brother's videos and things
Uh-huh.
like that." I think that's like at the most. I've never been recognized publicly.
Interesting. That's crazy though, that you were at least once. Did that like were you like motivated to make a bunch of videos after that?
No, I'm gonna be honest. It was just a really fun experience, and it just like made it be like, okay, this is my audience. But other than that, it was kind of just like a job.
Okay. So I kind of want to talk about that growth of subscribers you're talking about. Like, at how many do you remember? Like, at what either like video you started to really like grow, or like at what timeline you started to grow? Like, was it like a couple months in, or like 50 videos in? Like, do you know, like
I think
generally?
actually it was the summer of my junior year because like YouTube really does have seasons and most kids are obviously out during the
Oh
summer.
yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
that was crazy. The amount of like money I got from ad revenue like per like thousand like viewers slash like clicks were
Hmm.
insane. Like I didn't even know because usually like for me I've seen it go from like $1 to like $8, which eight
Hmm.
dollars is like completely insane. And like usually the average is from like 3 to 4. And
Yeah.
so I guess yeah, that period was crazy. I saw the money and I was like, holy cow! Like it didn't really like it really showed me that like YouTube can be like a full-time career.
Yeah. I've talked to a couple of people who have pretty big YouTube channels, and like I mean once you get to like 100,000 like subscribers, if you make your videos correctly, you could make a lot of money. Like you could
Yeah.
replace a full-time job in like Texas with that, which is kind of crazy. Was there like were you noticing anything that you were like you think stuck or really helped your channel grow that you could like potentially advise to anyone like who might be thinking of getting in a similar space, or just YouTube in general?
Honestly, I wouldn't necessarily say there's any tips, but I guess like the one strategy I have
Mhm.
is, or not necessarily I have, just like everyone has, is gaming channels make the most money. One, like honestly, making YouTube videos, editing, all that stuff, like idea generation, things like that takes forever. But like I
Yeah.
guess the easy way out, and if you're actually passionate about games, is starting a gaming channel because one, you really don't need anything else except like your computer and like something
Mhm.
to record the screen. And also, like what takes 1 hour is edited into a 20-minute video. And if you produce those every single day, like as long as you get at least 20K views every single time, like basically you're set.
20K views. How were you posting videos every day?
Mm, I wasn't at the time because like I couldn't fit it into my schedule being a high schooler. So I think
Mhm.
my videos are like every other day. Where like for my cousin, he would do it like at least once a day, if anything, like twice a day. And
Mhm.
that
Is he
honestly,
still doing it?
oh yeah, he's still
Oh,
doing it.
wow.
It's completely
And he's
changed.
just working out of Austin? I'm sure this is like his full-time job now.
Yeah, he actually has an office in Dallas. And
Oh,
so
wow.
not only does he have like a Roblox channel, he originally
Hmm.
started off as Minecraft, got to Roblox, and then
Yeah.
started a separate Minecraft channel. And then he also transitioned to like real life videos. And if I had to
Oh,
describe it,
wow.
Mr. Beast-esque, or like it's like nowadays, like
Yeah.
that kind of popular version of real life videos. And so
Hmm. Oh, that's crazy. I might have to talk to him too.
that's what we
Um,
do. Yeah.
interesting. So was there ever like at least I know, even sometimes with like this podcast, when you put out or like are trying to get interviews every day, there is like a burnout factor that happens. And I've heard a lot of YouTubers feeling very burnt out when doing something like making a video every day. And I know you don't have to do like the editing aspect and a lot of I think what can cause that burnout. But did you ever have to like deal with that? And I know you mentioned like, oh, you just started treating it like a job, but I think burnout still exists. And like, how'd you deal with that?
Well, I think one thing that like I guess my channel slash like my cousins like group of channels does very well is we kind of set out filming days and film like
Mhm.
4 videos at a time. Whereas like
Mm,
a lot of other Roblox YouTubers like in the industry actually make a video every single day,
that's
like
crazy.
daily, and that's like crazy to me.
Yeah.
And so I guess like sectioning it all off into like Mondays and Tuesdays really
Hmm.
helps. And then honestly, I think like something that's really hard to do in YouTube is like work-life balance because like I don't know, my cousin always talked about it how no matter what he was doing, YouTube was always on his mind. Like he would
Yeah.
do something, oh, that's a great video content idea and things like that. And so
Hmm.
it's like really difficult. And so for him personally, he takes like a lot of breaks. But like for me, it wasn't as difficult because I had like a YouTube mindset whenever I went into the office. And then right
Hmm.
after that, like especially during college, I had to go and do my classes. And so the break was like I had to do it and it was very like immediate.
That makes sense. I think the sectioning thing is a good piece of advice. And I think that actually goes beyond just like YouTube. I know that helps me a lot with the other things I do as well. So I agree with that. And then you mentioned like, um, I kind of want to know like when it came to YouTube, you probably like you said like it was mainly acting for you, but I feel like there are skills that might have come out, or I'm asking if there were any skills that you think like still help you today in a way. Um, maybe it is acting, but like, could you just talk a little bit about that, about like kind of your takeaway now that you're not doing it anymore?
I remember the first time I did a case comp, and basically, like when you give off presentations and things, this is like
Hmm.
super simple, and it's something that you
Yeah.
should learn in high school. But like when you
Uh,
give out presentations, obviously you aren't going to memorize a few scripts. You're going to look like at a
yeah.
couple bullet points, and then
Uh-huh.
you're going to go off from there. And so I remember my first case comp, all these like seniors were like yelling at me, saying like Ashley, do better. And so I remember going to my cousin, giving him like a long paragraph, and be like, I'm so sorry. You're right. Everything I learned from YouTube was a real life like actual skill, and I apologize and things like that. So that's one thing, like presenting and just like doing with what you have. I think another thing is like storytelling. And so like the format of YouTube videos have changed over time. So like in the past, I would like start off with like a little short, like 3 sentence, like OMG, like guys, yada 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 showed up. You like won't believe what's gonna happen by the end of it. And like basically kind of how to hook an audience. And so I feel
Hmm.
like that has really helped for like other things I've done, I guess, in undergrad business. And I guess another thing is just like having access to like the like software. Like I'm really good at Photoshop and I'm really good at like Premiere Pro and things like that. So like even though I wasn't directly like contributing to the editing process, I did get
Hmm.
some skills from that.
Interesting. So earlier, were you saying like your presentation skills did improve or didn't because you like I got confused. Did you say it did improve?
Yes, they did improve. So
Wait,
basically
so what was the whole message? You're saying like it doesn't apply to real life or whatever?
I thought it didn't apply to real life and it
Oh,
did.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. I agree. I think your presentation skills are fairly strong to the rest of the pool. When I talk to you or hear you present. Do you think like you uniquely like were real? I don't know other Roblox YouTubers, but what do you think like really helped you grow a lot? Because I personally, if I had to take a hunch, obviously it's like the consistency you put in, but I also think your personality to a certain extent is kind of like very like energetic, and some people might like that. Do you think like that's something that's like required, or have you seen other like Roblox YouTubers or just YouTubers in general, not necessarily, or like even like your brother, like is your brother the same way where he's super energetic? Because like I don't think I could like just replicate that even if I tried like really, really hard. Like so
For me, like my personality definitely helped. And there were times where he's like, Ashley, it's too much. Like it's basically like a dog looking at a squirrel. And then eventually he was like, you know what, just put it in your videos. I don't care anymore. Like
yeah.
I gave up. For my cousin, I definitely would say we don't have like the same personality. Like he
Hmm.
definitely has like an on camera version of himself. And so like it's a lot to maintain that energy and to say things with like such enthusiasm, because like literally
Hmm.
every sentence you says you have to
Yeah.
like you say you have to change your emotion almost every single time. And
Uh-huh.
so like if you do have a more like bubbly personality, it definitely does help and makes your job easier, but like just
Hmm.
consistency and doing it over and over again, eventually it just becomes like muscle memory.
That's crazy. Was there ever an opportunity presented to you outside or like through another like for like was there any other company or something else like Roblox reaching out or anything like that that you saw um through like your YouTube, or was it just straight like was it just
You
very
know
straight?
what? My cousin really was a gatekeeper. I got one sponsorship. It was for this like a role-playing anime game. It
Uh-huh.
was a really long like ad. I had to film for it.
Uh-huh.
Um yeah, that was the only one I got. And like for example, like things like VidCon and things like that, there's like I guess like a dark side of VidCon that like I was shielded from, because basically like there's free alcohol, free drugs and things like that. And so those are things like my like I know other YouTubers kind of experienced at a really young age, but like my cousin knew about it. And so
Hmm.
he really like said like no. Plus I also didn't really have any YouTube friends at the time, so it wasn't really fun for me. And
Uh-huh.
so yeah.
Wait, what do you like free alcohol at the event itself?
Yeah, because there's a lot of
Oh.
after parties and things like that.
Uh-huh.
And like from what it seems, it doesn't seem to be like heavily monitored and things.
Uh-huh.
And like even still, there's like big parties by like a lot of influencer houses and things like that. And
Okay, that makes
yeah.
sense. Um, would you ever, okay, so I guess, would you ever consider going back to YouTube?
You know what? I always get this question, and like before my channel officially died, it was like always like, oh Ashley, it's okay if you like drop out of college, like you do
Uh-huh.
YouTube again. And like looking back at it, I think I look at it fondly, even though like I have actual videos of me suffering. Like I wouldn't mind going back to it, but I don't think that it's like something that like I want to do now personally. And
Hmm.
but like by the time I turn 30, I'm kind of like too old. So
Yeah,
like honestly, probably no.
interesting. Did you like ever like moving forward, did you think that like you would ever stay in that creative space, or like whether that's even on the business side, or are you kind of more focused on like the regular corporate path?
Actually, the one thing I actually find really interesting is like the creator economy, and
Hmm.
basically how there's like different financial services for creators. Like for
Yeah.
example, this company called Carrot would basically like gives out credit cards to creators, because like if you think about it, like your chances of being viral and like not viral are so quick. It's basically honestly to me, I kind of view it as like VC in to
Hmm.
some extent. And so
Yeah.
like things like accounting for like creators, marketing for creators, like that's
Hmm.
definitely something I'm interested in. But it comes to like content creation, I don't think I would do it again.
Yeah. Content creation, I could see why it could like kind of kill you on the inside, and you can't really show it to anyone. Um, that's really interesting that you mentioned like the marketing side or like just the business side of it. Would you like, is that like a long-term goal? And if maybe someone else, from your perspective, when you were both making content, kind of hearing about like companies like I think you said Carrot, was there anything you think or any way you can position yourself to increase the chances of landing a job or a position in that role, like that you could tell to someone who might be listening? Because I know for you, like you actually had a YouTube channel, but is there anything else you think like might be helpful to know?
Honestly, yeah, your network is your net worth. They tell you this all the time. Honestly, the
Yeah,
only like way I can think you can get in like right now is like I because these companies are pretty small and
yeah.
so they're like mostly hiring for full time. So if you want to go in
Mhm.
as an intern, that's like literally impossible. And so honestly, I have no tips at the time. If anything, LinkedIn.
All right, I agree. I think that networking can get you far, especially in the creative media space. I think the only thing I would add is like I think you have to provide some value. Like you can't go in there like just being like, oh, could I get experience? Like you have to have something that they can't already do. So I agree. I think those are all my questions. So usually at this point in the interview, I give the guest the opportunity to like plug anything or give any parting advice, or really just say anything that's on your mind. So the floor is yours.
I'd say YouTube nowadays is definitely an industry that's really hard to get into because people are saying like, oh, I give out $10,000 to like a random homeless person, things like that. And so like honestly, if you want to do YouTube, you definitely have to calculate it. There's a lot more thinking and more planning behind success, launching a successful channel. So one, like completely think it through, do more research about it. And then I guess the third point is be passionate about it. Because honestly, if anything, this entire like experience has taught me is that if you are not happy where you are like doing a job, then you're not gonna have that good of a time. So yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's a really good advice. Well, thank you for coming on, Ashley. I really appreciate it. Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.